What's going on, everyone? It's Eric back with another video. I know it's a little odd. I'm curious as to the candidates that are running for mayor. I just want to see how they answer certain questions, because a lot of the times I hear them speak on the radio, these people do not know how to answer questions. I'll be honest, they're not prepared. They're not prepared for the job. They're not prepared for the job.
Toronto's 6 frontrunners for mayor, facing off all together in the first major televised debate. Invited tonight, the top 6 candidates. According to the most recent public opinion poll conducted by
I don't even know who the top
Research.
candidates are.
They are Olivia Chow,
Okay.
Mark Saunders,
Okay,
Josh
wait, stop.
Matlow, Mitzi
Okay.
Hunter,
Don't know who
Anna
they are.
Bailau, and Brad
Anna
Bradford.
Bailau. Anna Bailau.
Candidates will
I
have
think-
1
I
minute
think,
to answer a question,
John Tory is
followed by
behind
2
her on
minutes
this.
and 30 seconds of open discussion.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming, everyone.
This sound means time's up.
Good evening, I'm Cynthia Mulligan. Welcome to all of you. We are very excited to be part of this debate that will be held at a crucial point in this city, a healthy debate, and we are looking forward to it. This is an unexpected election, and the future mayor of
That is
Toronto
true. It
will
is
face
unexpected.
critical
You're right.
issues that have become a crisis for many in this city and impact Toronto as a whole. Candidates, are you ready? Good luck to you all. Our very first question comes from the audience, who is a Scarborough resident. Thank you very much for being here with us tonight.
My question for you this evening is, what is your overall vision for the Toronto of the future? And how will the inner suburbs, Scarborough in particular, which has over 25% of the Toronto community, is often ignored and underfunded, fit within your vision? Thank you.
So each candidate has 1 minute to answer the question. We're going to start with Josh
All
Matlow.
right, it's whatever question.
You get
Whatever.
1 minute starting
They
now.
go to warm up.
Thank you for that question. So my vision for Toronto is one that is a city that works, a city that is safer, more affordable, and more livable, where we make the right investments toward the services that have been declining for far too long, whether it be fixing roads on streets like Brimley or Warden or Shepherd.
Okay, he
or
knows his East End.
competently clearing the snow.
He knows his East End. He knows his East
To
End.
getting our kids into rec programs, to creating more cricket pitches, to getting more outdoor rinks, to investing in our suburban areas like we've done in other parts of the city.
Like?
And I just don't accept that whether it be city services or when Doug Ford doesn't fulfill his promise to put $1 billion towards health care here in Scarborough.
Don't deflect. Do not look. See what I mean? He's deflecting. Nobody's talking to you about Doug Ford right now. We're talking to Josh Matlow.
When we have 25% of the population, 1% of health hospital donations, that's not acceptable. If you need somebody to fight for Scarborough like I do for the entire city, I look forward to being your mayor.
Olivia Chow, your minute.
Not
My
bad.
vision for Toronto is one of a caring, affordable, and safe city. In Scarborough, I will be a champion because for too long, there hadn't been the kind of service the Scarborough residents deserve. Whether it is the cricket pitches, the libraries, community
Stop.
centers,
Don't
the
bounce off
childcare
of his answers.
centers, the skating rink, the pool, you name it. And even with the cuts, which I think one should not accept on TTC, the cuts impact on Scarborough the most because the service is hurt most. So I'll be the champion. It don't need a one-size-fit-all approach from the city, and I will work together with you to build a city that's affordable and safe and caring, where everyone belongs.
She said a bunch of nothing. What is he? I'm a champion? That's your answer. Yo, her tagline is I'm a champion.
Walk like a champion, talk like a champion. Ram, pa, pa, pam, pa.
I expect you to
Hunter,
do better.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you. So I'm from Scarborough. I grew up here.
I like the
and,
start
you
of that.
know,
I like that.
My parents, when they came to Canada, they both work hard. My dad, he was in
Telling a
construction.
story
He had transport
to
trucks.
connect.
My mom worked in
I like that.
manufacturing. You ever heard the saying, you work your back off? That was my mom. She actually literally had to have back surgery. And they made that sacrifice so my brothers and I could have a better.
This is an excellent starting point. Let me tell you why. Because when you tell a story right off rip, you're controlling the room. You're bringing everyone in to your experience, your life in Scarborough, the life of your parents. So she's controlling the emotions right now. So she has everyone in check.
In this country. I'm running to be the mayor of Toronto so that we have a city that works for everyone everywhere in this city. That young people who grow up in Toronto will be able to afford to live here, wherever they live. And that means we make investments and we fix transit, we fix housing and the services that people rely on in our city. And I am proposing a city that we invest in our critical infrastructure, like building the North York Scarborough subway extension along Shepherd Avenue from Downsview to McCowan and Shepherd, the Eglinton East LRT, so we connect this university where I attended to rapid transit. So my vision is Toronto that works for everyone, and that includes Scarborough.
I love it.
Thank you. Brad
By far, one of the
Bradford,
best answers.
minute.
Well, thanks very much. My name is Brad Bradford. It's nice to meet you. I appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight. My vision for the city, my vision for Scarborough is one that is affordable, one that is safer, and one that's easier to get around. You know, people often forget that Scarborough is in fact 1/3 of the city of Toronto. And I hear from folks in Scarborough all the time, they don't necessarily feel like they get 1/3 of city council's attention. It has never been more expensive to live in this city. You know, the biggest bills that you're paying every month, your rent, your mortgage, those things keep going up. We need to fight for affordability for young families like mine, for new Canadians who are stepping off the plane at Pearson, for seniors who want to age in their community. We need to make our neighborhoods safer so that people can enjoy a high quality of life. And we need to end the gridlock that has ground this city to a halt.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you are taking transit, or you are driving, or you are walking, or you are riding. You need to be able to get to where you're going. Those are the basic things that I'm going to take care of as your mayor.
I like Brad. I like Brad.
Mark Saunders.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very
Thank you
good.
so much for that question, and congratulations. I
Mark
believe you said
Saunders.
you received an award of some sort. Fantastic. My vision is simple. Most people leave where they're coming from, because this is a city of immigrants, to live the Canadian dream, to get a place.
I already know he's going to be rambling. I could just tell this guy's going to ramble and he's going to run out of time without saying a single pitch.
To have a decent paying job, to have a family, and hopefully to start a small business. Government's responsibility is to create that environment to make that happen. When we first moved to Canada, my parents emigrated from Jamaica to here. I had two older sisters, and one of them lived in Scarborough. And I spent many a summer in Scarborough. It was very diverse. There's a lot of people, but not a lot of infrastructure or anything. And we fast forward today, 40 some odd years later, it's the same. It's very diverse. When I talk to people in the neighborhoods, I hear the same thing. Their tax dollars are not being spent equally. If we are going to be an inclusive city, we have to make sure the government is spending the money equally, especially to the communities that are in the most need. That's what I want to happen, and that's what I want to happen when I'm chosen to be your mayor. Thank you.
I was wrong.
Thank you.
I was wrong. That was actually very good. That was not bad.
I want to make sure that we have a city that has services that are working, that housing that we can afford, that I can make life easier and more affordable for the people of Toronto, and including the residents of Scarborough. When I arrived at Leadership 15, I felt a sense of opportunity, and it was a feeling that I've never felt again in my life. And that is the feeling I want every resident, every 15-year-old in Scarborough to feel. And the way that we do that is by having services that work. Restore the services on the TTC, making sure that we fund and build the Eglinton East LRT, making sure that we build housing in mixed communities, that, you know, all that development that is happening on the Golden Mile, that we actually get good, affordable housing in there and community services in there, that we bring jobs to Scarborough. As a city, I will make sure that the Scarborough Civic Center is redeveloped and revitalized, and we bring city jobs in there. And that we make sure that people are listened to. The people of Scarborough are listened to and are at the table.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk about the strong mayor powers, which have been newly introduced by Premier Doug Ford. when John Tory was the mayor. You have indicated that you are very open to using them. Your other colleagues here, some have said they won't use them at all, others very sparingly. Are you worried that you can't build consensus amongst council members? Is that why you are seem to be more open to using them than others?
I'm open to getting things done for the people of Toronto, and I think that's important when we're talking about an affordability crisis, when we're talking about a housing crisis, when we're talking about transit here in Scarborough, which has been debated and delayed for decades. You know, we're going to have a challenge with the Scarborough RT.
Should have just kept it as I'm open to using it because I'm trying to get things done. Avoid red tape. It would have been that's all he needed. 10 seconds.
There has been so much delay, deferral, endless debate on transit here in Scarborough.
Right.
And yet, the folks of Scarborough and the people of Toronto expect local government to move forward on the priorities, whether that is housing or transit or the infrastructure that supports growth. So being a strong mayor is about someone who's not afraid to make a decision.
Right.
The joke at City Hall is the best way to get reelected is to do nothing at all.
Right.
When I'm the mayor, I will usher in a new era
Very
of
good
accountability
way to answer.
with mayor's mandate letters to stand up publicly and transparently and make sure that Torontonians are getting value for their money and we're delivering on the priorities that matter most to you.
Okay, I invite the rest of you to jump in on that.
Very good. I would like someone who's against this.
I'd be happy to.
Josh.
I will not be using the so-called strong mayor powers because I believe in democracy and I don't believe that the ends justify the means thank you. In fact, minority rule over the majority opinion is the antithesis of democracy. So there's just no reason and no good rationale to just throw to the wayside our basic principles, the tenets of democracy, to do that. The way that a mayor can get things done is by the strength of their conviction and the strength of their ideas. Okay. There's no mayor that hasn't been able to do that, and I intend to get our agenda through because of your support.
That's so capped. So you think you're the only special person that could get it done after all these mayors couldn't do it? Brother, stop the cap.
There's no
Stop
mayor
the cap.
that hasn't been
Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap!
With all due respect, government has responsibility to make sure the people that come into this city have opportunity. That's their role. When we look at the numbers right now, which state that 90%.
Whoever is in charge of PR, whoever teaches him how to speak, whatever it is, he needs to add a little more confidence. He needs to speak up with his chest. When he's talking, they had to put up the mic for him. Bro, speak up.
90% of purpose-built rentals are over 40 years old. That's because the buck doesn't stop with the mayor. The mayor has a responsibility and has to make decisions. Experienced leadership is what is needed and necessary. Collaboration is, yes, an important tool.
Right.
But you can't have a small group of people handcuff decisions that need to be made. Our city needs to grow, and we need to make sure that the opportunities are available for people to have housing.
How would we be able to stand up and stop the destruction that Doug Ford is doing to our cities, the sell-off of the Greenbelt to his donors,
The Science Center.
Everything going downtown away from the suburbs, that's what Doug Ford is supporting. That's what Mark Saunders will do.
So let me be very, very clear.
It is very important to have people that have relationships with council. It is very important. I'm actually, thrilled that I have two Scarborough councillors supporting me, Nick Mantas and Paul Ainsley. I think one of them at least is here. And that tells you something. You need to work with councillors to get your whole agenda through. You have 25 people. You don't have political parties. And you should definitely not have a premier to tell you what to do and what priorities you should set as an agenda.
That is missing from this conversation around strong mayors. And I came out very early to say that I will not use the strong mayor's power. And, I just resigned my seat to run in this mayoralty race. And I fought that at the provincial level because it diminishes local democracy, which diminishes the voice of the people. It is your representatives at City Hall that will have less of a say. And so why would we do that?
Okay,
Our job
I'm
is
going to
to build
off here.
consensus.
We're going to get to our next question.
Yo, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'm in the middle. As long as collectively we elect someone that we trust as a mayor, then we shouldn't be too worried in the decision making that they do, and them using the strong mayoral powers to push certain things through, because faster results within a short period of time avoids all these red tapes and delays and disruptions. So I think it's still fine to use it. It's just maybe not overusing it.
Our next question comes from the audience. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm short. Hi, everybody. I'm Suman Roy with Feed Scarborough.
Okay.
Our organization feeds 7,500 people in the community every week.
Very good.
So
Good job, Bill.
my question.
Why is the whole
thank you.
Scarborough here?
My question is, very recently, the city of Toronto has declared homelessness as an emergency. In South Scarborough, a person living on minimum wage, living in a one-bedroom apartment, basement apartment, has only $1.81 left per day to eat food, use transit. We know what transit costs. And average rent in Toronto is $3,000 in today's date per month.
Right.
What are you going to do to make it actually affordable for our people?
Very good. Very specific
Thank
question.
you very much. A very important question. Olivia Chow, we'll start with you, and then we'll go down
Right.
the line.
Let's
You
start
each
with her.
have 1 minute to
Mrs.
answer.
I'm champion.
Olivia.
I hear you. Yesterday, one of my volunteer, Dahlia, said after she just finished, graduated from university, and after she paid her rent, she has hardly any money left. And by the end of the month, close to about now, fruits and vegetables and even canned soup is a luxury, and that is not right. So what I would do is to actually tackle the problem by building affordable housing. 25,000 units of rent controlled housing, and at least 30% of them are affordable. That is a start, but immediately, some of those people need shelters. So 1,000 units of rent geared to income housing so that they don't pay so much onto rent and nothing left by the end of the day.
Thank you. Mitzi Hunter.
Thank you, Suman, for all of the work that you and your team and volunteers do on behalf of Feed Scarborough. And the reality is that 25% increase from the Daily Bread Food Bank is the food bank reality here in our community. And you know, recently I was at the Delta Hotel, and it's no longer being used as a hotel. It is a shelter. Temporarily, and there are 450 people who live there, most of whom are seniors.
How she has her statistics.
We have to turn this around.
I like
and
that.
the number one need is for more affordable housing more quickly, and that is something that I have a plan. I know you've seen this plan. I have a plan to build more affordable housing more quickly by unlocking city lands.
I understand that your food bank visits have tripled in 2022. We heard from Neil Hetherington of Daily Bread that they had 270,000 client visits in the month of March alone. You've all seen the videos. You've seen the lineups outside the food banks. The challenge is the people who are having to line up are folks who are fully employed. You know, it's getting harder and harder to put food on the table. And that is because we're experiencing an affordability crisis. It has been rightly noted that the biggest bill that you face every month is your rent or your mortgage. And the City of Toronto has the unenviable statistic of having the slowest housing approval rates in the country. It takes nearly 3 years to get an approval in the City of Toronto, and that's unacceptable. We need more housing supply. We need more in our neighborhoods. That's why I approved multiplex at council last week, so we have more rental options in more neighborhoods right here in Scarborough. That will improve affordability for people.
Thank you. Mark Saunders.
My plan is cutting the red tape so we have the opportunity to build and to build more. The fact that there's now opportunity
You've
for
heard this
rooming
line
houses
before,
and things
brother.
along those lines is great as well too. But we have to make sure that we do this collectively, and we have to build now. And if we don't, we're going to wind up continuing to do this. Everyone else has not developed. As I stated, 40 years is the average age of the purpose-built rentals.
Thank you. Anna Bailao.
Thank you so much for your the work that you do. My goal is to put you out of business. That is the goal that I have. But in the meantime, I need to support as
I see what she tried to do there. Very tough crowd, I'll be honest with you. Now is not the time to play jokes. Talking to you about affordability, you're telling me I'm gonna put you out of business? Come on, Anna. Read the room.
The good work that you do, and that's why my plan will create a $2 million extra on the Community Partnerships and Investment Fund, and have a dedicated stream for organizations that support food security. We also need to make sure that we're preventing others from falling into homeless. So making sure that the rent bank is triple the amount that it is right now, I will be doing that. I'll also be creating a unit to make sure that we prevent rent-evictions and help with rent-evictions. I also have a fund to help our shelters as well. But, as it was said, and everybody agrees, housing is the solution.
Josh Matlow hinted at your relationship or perceived relationship with Doug Ford. You do seem to be the Premier's chosen candidate. Now, he likes to use the word efficiencies, and so do you. In the last budget process, there was a $1.5 billion hole. You have said you would help close that gap with efficiencies. Can you tell me exactly where you could find $1.5 billion worth of efficiencies?
So thank you for that question. And let's talk about exactly what's going on right now. There are a lot of things that are up on the board. We have 72 projects that are on the board and absolutely no accountability for it. When I get into the office, the first thing I'm going to do is look at the budget, look where everything has been spent, what is it doing, and how is it being spent. Time after time, I've seen projects that have been just put into place without any consultation that have negative results.
You're
Making
lying
sure we
through
spend
your
the money
teeth,
properly
brother.
is what's key and proper. So in certain areas of the city, the bike lanes are diminishing small businesses. Small businesses right now are the backbone to the start of our economy. And if we don't understand how we spend our money properly, then we're going to go downhill. Number two, when we talk about putting things in place that aren't working, when I knock on doors, I'm hearing from people time after time. We have tried to talk to City Hall. They have not listened. That's where the frustration is. If we're going to get it right, we have to make sure that the dollar is spent to maximize value for each citizen and not just people that are in specific areas.
How on earth does that balance the budget? From anything that I just heard, I didn't hear a specific.
It's not only
Thank you. Josh, I like this guy.
not balance the budget, but
Thank
it's
you.
also, why can't you look at the budget now? You know, I've looked at the budget.
Because,
and,
no, I can,
you know, like, and
Mark,
we have to come up.
Mark,
You know,
Mark.
we're running to be the mayor of the city. We have to come up with real solutions to address the concerns that people are facing each and every day. You know, the people in Scarborough, you know, they don't want to see costs go
Doug
up.
Ford does not get to decide who is the mayor.
we can-
You do. People has the power to do it.
Cynthia,
that power belongs to
year,
you, not
every
to
year,
Premier Doug
Every
Ford.
year we've found efficiencies. The City of Toronto is a big corporation, and of course there's always space for efficiencies. There's always new technology coming through. There's always efficiencies. $1.5 billion? Anybody that really aspires to be mayor of the city cannot come to this table and say that we'll find $1.5 billion of efficiencies without cutting serious services and important services
So
in the
what
city.
we have to do, no, here's the reality, because I got asked.
Good strike. That's a good strike by Anna.
Mark,
Good strike. Good
nothing
strike.
that you said was actually real or helpful.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
Doug
you.
Ford.
Absolutely
No,
wrong,
it's
and
true, though.
I'll
It's true.
speak to it.
Rhetoric does not pay the bills. It doesn't help. It doesn't actually.
This guy said I'm gonna go through 72 projects and see how every dollar is spent. I have never heard more cap in my life.
Doug Ford and Rob Ford did a core service review. They couldn't find all those gravy trains that you talk about. It wasn't.
Let's be
real.
very clear. Let's be very clear. The city will not be able to survive on its own. If we are going to be successful, we have to have strong partnerships with all levels of government.
Yes,
The federal
not
government
roll
has
over
given
for
us-
them to,
the federal
not to
government-
roll over,
partnership-
not to
the
roll
partnership
over
is
or tell
different
them
than being
what to
subscribed
do. You
government
partner
to
with
Doug
them.
Ford.
I am the only candidate who's taken the position that, like every other municipality in this province, we ought to open up tendering to a fair, transparent, competitive bidding process for municipal
Thank you.
infrastructure.
That's a good
This
answer.
has been done. This
No,
has
that's a
been
good
done
answer, because
in
it's
the city of
corruption.
Hamilton,
Contracts are
and
given-
they saved
no, no.
21%.
How is
I
that
can
going to help?
deliver
How is that going to
Mitzi,
help
hang on
the
a second.
operating budget? How is it going to help? Because
Mitzi,
that's
hang on a
capital.
second.
How
It
is it going to
doesn't.
help the
We
operating
could
budget?
save the city $200 million a year with a fair and transparent and competitive bidding process. And folks at home, you should be
that's a
asking
way.
these
That's one way.
candidates
That's an efficiency.
His numbers are not true. Let the daughter of a construction worker explain the planner in the ivory tower what actually union actually means. You know what? My dad almost died on a construction site. I know the power of have health and safety on a construction site.
Sure.
I know the power of having apprenticeships and training and opportunities. I know the power of having a fair wage. And I know the power when something like that happens, what it means for a working family in our city.
Okay.
With all due respect,
Brad Bradford, I'll let you have
and there's
10
no way
seconds
that
to
there's
wrap
any
this
savings
up.
like that.
With
Brad,
all,
10 seconds.
there are savings like that because we have seen since Bill 66 was passed, which allowed municipalities to do this. You can look at the city of Hamilton, 21% savings. You can look at the region of Waterloo, double-digit savings.
No, he's right, bro.
I think taxpayers here in Toronto
100%,
deserve those
I
kind
agree
of
with you.
savings. I will save the city $200 million a year, at least, with an open and transparent, competitive bidding process for municipal infrastructure. Everybody should be doing it. It is irresponsible not to.
And that's time.
Well, I 100% agree with this guy. 100%. People forgot about this. This happened in what, 2017. Astle, I think this is the way you pronounce it, decided not to wait for the city to act, taking matters into his own hands. Last month, he built the stairs for just $550 with materials he bought himself after the city told him it would have to spend between $65,000 to $150,000 to replace the stairs.
Anna Bailao, you have said you will not raise taxes beyond inflation, a stance similar to John Tory's. You have said you will find more revenue for the city by uploading the Gardiner and the DVP to the province. Yet Doug Ford has made it very clear on more than one occasion that that is not going to happen. He is the man who makes that decision. So is the very foundation of your platform then built on a dream?
No, I've heard no too many times, Cynthia. I've heard no when I try to stop the TCHC homes from being sold, and people told me it couldn't be done, and I got a $2.6 billion fully funded capital backlog. Gardiner and the DVP is actually two highways that used to be provincial highways that are used by over 50% of riders that are not from Toronto, and we are the only city in the regions that is actually paying for highways. What I'm saying is that we need that money to use to fix the services. I believe, like the Premier, that I will have the mandate on June 27. I believe that, like the Premier, that there's only one taxpayer and that we need to do a better job for the City of Toronto, which is the economic engine of this province and of this country.
Okay. Who wants to begin? Mitzi.
Well, I just want to know what you're going to cut if that does not happen. If Premier Ford says, too bad, you know, you're stuck.
Mitzi, what are you going to cut?
What are you going to cut?
You haven't said how you're going to fund the
$1.5
$1.5 billion either.
I have an affordable housing plan
dancing.
That's going to build more affordable housing more quickly, and it's transparently posted
caught
on
her
my
in a trap.
website, mitziformayor.ca.
She's setting her up.
So I have a plan. What is yours?
Mitzi,
because Ford has already said he ain't going to do it.
Your
So
plan
what are you going to cut?
I don't take no for an answer. You take it, I don't.
Cut?
Let's stop talking about the cuts and let's talk about the 20%
taxes.
tax increase that Olivia Chow is going to strap to your property tax bill and send it into outer space. This is a conversation about affordability.
Hey,
this
remember,
is a conversation
this is
about
the budget
affordability,
guy
and
that
the reality
makes
is,
your fares, okay?
folks in
He talks
Scarborough
about more
and
transit
people
and
here in
he
Toronto
makes your
cannot
fares.
afford $700 more a year in property tax hikes from
I don't know
Olivia
how
Chow.
you get
It's
those figures.
20%. I have asked her.
20%.
I could take you through the numbers. Do you want me to do that?
Well,
Folks, do you want me to take you through Olivia Chow's 20% tax hike?
I know at the
Is
end
that
of the
what you
day,
want?
Those people that are buying these homes, 2% of all the home sales are these folks. Don't you think
Those
they should
taxes
pay
are
a bit more?
$40 million.
Yes,
there's
and
a
the land transfer
there's a
tax.
$1.5 billion hole.
And
There's
this
a
is-
1.5. That would be a
They
39%
should
tax
pay their
And this is my
share.
point. There's not
That
enough little
generates the
boutique
money.
taxes that Olivia can put on
well, let me
people
give you
to
another
actually pay
idea.
for all the
Another
promises that
idea
she's
is those
making.
speculators
And that's
that
why when we add
keep
up the
up
numbers,
there,
folks at Toronto
you
can
know,
expect a 20% tax
speculators that
increase
keep
with Olivia
Josh
Chow
Matlow.
because the
You got her.
vacant home
You got
tax
her.
is not going to cover it.
Okay,
The
Olivia, just a
MLTT
moment.
You
is
don't
not
look too much
going
of a
to
champion
cover it.
now, Olivia.
And so Olivia Chow will either be breaking her promises or jacking your taxes, and that's an important
heard
thing
that
for
before.
folks in Toronto
May
to
I
know.
answer the question?
I'm going to let Josh Matlow and
No,
then
you lost your
Olivia.
chance.
You can have the last word, Josh.
Okay.
This isn't how to make a city that works. Like this, it isn't real. It isn't real. I mean, the only thing that we really have to be focusing on is how to fix our problems rather than just screaming about the problems.
Okay.
Or each other. And may I just add, the way to do it is just to be honest, not after the election, but right now. We need to have at least a moderate tax increase to be able to pay for the things that are broken. It's real, it's honest. If we want to fix our roads, if we want better access to recreation centers, if we want to send our kids to camp, if we want to fix, the problems that we have, if we want to help our most vulnerable, we're going to have to pay for it. We can't have it both ways.
I respect your honesty, Josh, but no. No. You understand me? No. More money doesn't fix problems. Learning how you're spending the money, auditing yourself, okay, and then figuring out where you're overspending and where you're getting destroyed, okay, that's what will help. Not increasing taxes. There's a leak in the bucket. No matter how much water you're gonna pour inside of it, it's always gonna be leaking. You egghead.
Budget hole, and we have to be real about this.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut this off. We're
We're
going to continue this topic on the next one, so I'm sorry, I have to cut this off right now. I apologize.
I like
We
the
have to stay on
moderator.
schedule.
Excellent.
We are
Excellent
going
moderator.
to go to our audience next for our next question.
Excellent
Thank you for joining
moderator.
us.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sugantini. I am from Sri Lanka. I'm a single mom.
Nice.
I moved to
Nice.
Toronto for.
I'm meaning it's a diversity. So, you know what I mean?
I'm living in Scarborough for 18 years with my son. He's teenager. The issue is safety is near and dear to my heart, and that what
Mark
my
Saunders should go
question is
first.
concerning.
Safety.
Not only do we need safe transit, we need safe streets, we need safe communities that brings both the support of police as well as support addressing the root of violence. What will you prioritize to address safety in Scarborough?
Thank you.
Very good question. Mark Saunders,
I think
please
that
choose it.
sums up every parent's fear. Thank you so much. Brad Bradford, we're going to begin with you. You have 1 minute.
Shit! I don't want to give Mark Saunders time to think about
Thanks
this.
very much. A safe city is such an important thing for all of us, and I hear from folks all the time, whether they are riding the TTC or issues on main streets with local businesses, or the scenario that you just described as a single mother with your kids. Folks are feeling less safe in Toronto today, and it's not to say that Toronto is Gotham, but it does feel a little bit less safe. We need to make sure that we have coordinated response to have better action on those issues as well. Get people the help where and when they need it. I will be expanding the mobile crisis response teams across Toronto so that we have those services for people.
Mark Saunders.
Great, thank you. Well, again, my platform is public safety. North, south, east, and west, when I knock on doors, that's what I hear. People are concerned about the safety. They're concerned about the random disorder and random crimes that are happening. But it's very rich to hear everybody here, Brad, Anna, and Josh, voted not only to defund the police, but also to remove their guns. So when they're talking about community safety and also talking under a different breath about removing the guns to enforce the city, I find it ludicrous. We have to make sure things are safe. I have the best plan for it. No one else here will come close to it. But it's not just about boots on the ground in law enforcement. It's about dealing with people that live with mental health. And I spoke to it at great detail. That has been one issue that has been neglected for decades. You have my commitment, and if you look at my plan, making sure that we're working with the right resources, having outward-facing resources, and a lot more to help those that live with mental health in order to keep our city safe, so that it's about dealing with those issues as well as the crime in order to keep our city safe.
Thank you. Anna Byline.
Let's bring some facts to the table. I didn't vote to defund the police. I believe in a well-funded and a well-trained police service.
I agree.
One that is actually going to be able to expand their neighborhood program. One that is going to be able to reduce the wait times in 911. But at the same time, I also believe that we need to expand the Toronto Community Crisis Response Unit to cover 100% of the city. This is a unit that was created to respond when somebody's in a mental health distress. so that actually our police service can focus on what they need to focus on, auto theft and homicides and the real crime. Mental health is not a crime. We need to have other services to make sure that we respond to that. That is why I believe that we need the Toronto Community Crisis Service. I also believe that we need more Toronto mobile mental health outreach.
Josh Matlow.
The police are good at what
Best
they
answer
do,
so far.
but they should be the last resort when it comes to an individual with the potential of violence who's going through crisis on our transit system or elsewhere. We need trained professionals who know how to de-escalate those individuals to prevent a tragedy from happening.
Right.
I also have been advocating for years successfully to open youth spaces throughout our city. I believe in the Roots of Youth Violence report by Alvin Curling and Roy McMurtry. I want to implement those goals at the city level. I want to ensure that we have spaces and supports in our communities to make sure that our kids have real options to go down the right path, because if they're healthy and safe, our community is healthy and safe. I have a plan to do it. I have a way to pay for it. That will be our focus, to focus on the root causes of violence while we have a rapid response team on the TTC and in our communities and schools to support our kids who are going through trauma and to protect our community.
Mitzi Hunter.
There's nothing more important than a city where people feel safe and are actually safe. And in the last year and a bit, I've been to 2 high schools where students were shot and killed in our community here in Scarborough.
Okay.
And when I talk to the principals, what they ask me for is, it's not more police. What they ask for is more investments in programs for young people so that we can deal and address with the root cause issues. This is a complex issue. There's no one single thing that will solve it, because if there was, we would have done it already. We have to work cohesively,
very good.
pay attention to those social determinants of health,
Very good. Look how she
poverty,
wrapped it up.
education,
Look.
employment, housing. These are the things that we have to do to make sure that we have a safe city. And yes, there's a role for the mobile units and the wellness teams and all of those things, but the most important thing that we can do is make the investments that are needed in our young people and in our city so that we have a safe city.
Excellent.
As mayor, that's what I would do.
Excellent. Very
Olivia
good, Mitzi.
Chow, this one's for you. We hinted at it in the last debate that got rather heated, so I expect the same on this. But let's talk about taxes.
Yep.
Your
Let's bring it up.
opponents, in particular Brad Bradford, paints you as the big spender that's going to bankrupt property owners. How high will you raise taxes? What is the bar? Because I do think people have a right to know. And would you consider other revenue tools?
Thank you for that question and giving me opportunity to explain what I was trying to say. It's putting a budget together. It's like a household budget. You look at what is the needs, what kind of service do we need, and we build it. I have 10 years of experience in the budget committee building up a budget. And then once you come up with all the services people need, whether it's transit, housing, kids
Food,
programs,
yes,
after-school programs, all those important things that you're hearing about, then you look at what kind of sources of funding do you have. My whole thing is about a balanced budget and also keeping life affordable. No, I'm not increasing your property tax to 20%. That's not on. But what I would do, on top of that big luxury home tax that I talked about, is I will also look at those empty spots in the city where speculators leave their place empty and be able to get $45 million out of that vacancy tax.
Okay.
But
Brad.
respectfully, Olivia, you just spent a minute of people's time. You spent a minute dodging like a professional politician, but you did not answer the question. Cynthia asked you very clearly,
but she kind of didn't.
How high are you going to raise
She said she's not.
Torontonians' taxes? How expensive are you going to make it to
She
live
just said the
in this
luxury
city?
tax.
And you spent a minute.
No, let me answer
and you didn't answer the question.
How much money do you think the federal and the provincial government will give to the city? We don't know because we haven't started negotiating.
So be honest with your campaign promises.
Well, you're probably not going to be the best negotiator, that's for sure.
Respectfully, she didn't answer the question.
If I could get one word in there.
Question to ask.
It's a very fair question to ask.
We need to be able to hear you.
Okay.
So, Mark, I'll let
Thank
you take the floor for a moment.
Olivia already answered the question. She said, I am ready to tax. Full stop. She is ready to tax.
She's excited.
So her number, who knows what it's going to be, but it's going to be incredibly high. That is just who Olivia is. If you follow her past history, I'll tell you, no money's going to go to the police.
Just approved a
In 2005,
7.5%
she
Right?
would
Was
not
it
even
7%?
support raising anything to help the police. So Olivia, just answer the question.
I believe Mr. Bradford supported that,
I would
voted for it.
still like-
That's what you call a tax increase, is above the rate of inflation, right? It's 7% tax increase. He voted for it.
So then, there you go,
know
Olivia.
what-
are you
what
committing to
talking about?
inflationary property
People
tax
do.
increases?
One at a
Are you
time,
committing
please.
to
Do have
inflationary property
tax-
tax increases, or are you going to respond to the 20% property tax hike that is
Well,
outlined
you're
in your
just
platform
wrong.
on your website right
Brad.
now?
Josh Matlow.
Again, just to come back to reality for a moment, and I apologize to say it that way, but I really like, if we actually look at like, for example, 2% on the property tax, what that comes to is $67 per homeowner a year. That's $5.55 per month. That's like a fraction of what most of us pay for Netflix, right? Like a sandwich.
Are you
So
trying to excuse
in
the-
reality, if we do want to
cheap
improve,
sandwich.
cheap sandwich some places, yeah. So, you know.
I love it when you get along.
No.
$6
It would be less expensive than the sandwich that Mark had at the Stag and Dough at Doug Ford's party. But the reality is, if we genuinely
Cynthia.
want to actually improve services and
Cynthia.
infrastructure and make our lives more workable in Toronto, we're going to have to invest in that. And the thing is,
Okay,
anyone who
that's
gets
time.
elected is going to have to do that. I'm just being upfront with you about that reality. And
But
it's just
Olivia,
like-
it's not.
I'm
And
sorry.
Olivia-
He's right because he might be right. He's most likely right. No matter who gets elected, the chances of taxes going higher is probably guaranteed. The amount, though, is what determines who's elected. The fact that he takes it so lightly, at least say, I will do my best to not increase taxes. The fact that you're saying, yo, it's only $5 every month. It's only $67 for a year. That's a 2% hike, which is the minimum. If we need, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear an extra dollar going until they've seen an ROI from the government. When they start seeing an ROI and they start seeing improvements, people might be considering paying more.
I have to cut this because
true.
we're well over time.
Because
I'd
the
like to go
city's
back
broke.
to our audience.
The city's broke 'cause of you idiots.
Question. Hello there.
A Scarborough developer owns 6 strip plazas and wants to tear them down and build condominiums, and at least 50 businesses will be lost. How will you help to ensure that development doesn't threaten to remove small businesses, preserves employment lands, and that Scarborough is an affordable place to do and operate business and to provide jobs for Scarborough?
The way I'd answer this, he's saying there is development that is taking down small businesses and replacing it with condominiums. If you respond back with saying yes, and due to the high cost, the high demand of affordable housing, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss with the land developer, right, or with the condominium developer, to have at least a certain percentage of the units to be affordable housing or geared to income housing, and we will make sure that the bottom floor, while giving them tax credits, we will utilize the bottom floor of the building, still maintain some of the businesses that were once there. We have the businesses that still can somehow be incorporated within the development, and then there's also affordable housing, and the development can also build more buildings, and it's a win-win for everybody. That is how they're supposed to answer this question. Should I go up there?
Thank you very much. Mark Saunders, we start with you.
Right now, there's so much uncertainty. Anytime there's uncertainty in any city, businesses will not come in. People that want to start businesses will not start businesses. If you have fear of taxes being raised and 2 people over there are talking about a sandwich, when someone else is talking about people are left with $1.81 a day, a sandwich happens to be a big deal, with all due respect, and I'm sorry. Making sure that we are doing it right, making sure that we are supporting small businesses, because it is the ecosystem of our economy.
Example, Saunders. Example,
Small
Saunders.
businesses are supported properly. If investments are made, then it allows the opportunity for big business to want to come here. And that's what Toronto is about. It is coming here and having an opportunity to have a job and a good job. But if we do it the wrong way and vote for the wrong person, businesses will be leaving as people are leaving the city right now.
Thank
You
you.
didn't answer the question.
Anna Baila.
You didn't answer the question.
Bringing jobs to
Beating around the
Scarborough
bush.
is important, and as mayor, I will accelerate the revitalization of the Scarborough Civic Centre and bring city jobs as well. But every opportunity like you talked about, when there's those big plazas being developed, we do have the power as a city to make sure that small businesses are part of the conversation as well.
Thank you, Anna.
I've had that happen in my community. I had a plaza that was developed that we were able to actually phase it out to make sure that the community never lost the small businesses and actually created spaces adequately and appropriate for the businesses that were needed in the community. So
Excellent
planning,
answer.
zoning, and having the community voices at the table
Affordable
is
housing?
essential.
Affordable housing?
Those new residents will support the small business. We need to create the environment and making sure that we have the conditions for them to succeed as well, bringing more jobs and bringing the planning as well.
Josh Matlow.
That's planned for Kingston Road in Scarborough Southwest, or the redevelopment of Malvern Town Center, that both serves as a place for business, but also it's a community hub. It's a place for seniors and local residents to come together. It acts like the town square, similar to Scarborough Town Center. And we need to make sure that we preserve those businesses and those spaces for people to come together. The way that I'm going to be doing things is different than what Doug Ford does, which it's just about every development needs to be approved. My view is, let's plan a community. Let's make sure that we have businesses that can survive, housing, affordable housing, services, infrastructure, playgrounds, parks, a community that can meet the needs of the existing residents, but also support the new residents moving into the community. We've got to do better. Scarborough is facing pressure, and we want to make sure that it's affordable and livable for every resident here.
Thank you. Olivia Chow.
It was fine.
Many people use the Malvern Town Center, Woodside Square, as a place where they gather. It is a community hub. And we're going to lose a lot of that in the Malvern Town Center. In Woodside Square, you still have parked a new library, but it's not comprehensive enough, which is why a secondary plan needs to take place so that we can have other community services right in that square. But there was a promise to bring city jobs to Scarborough Civic Center. That last administration promised it. Let's get it done. Let's bring the jobs right here into Scarborough Town Center so people could work and live in the same area and save a long commute time. I think that's very important. Let's unleash the entrepreneurial spirit of people in Scarborough. There are a lot of folks that want to start up small businesses. Let's support them.
You know, I started my career by starting a small business in Scarborough, right at Pharmacy and Lawrence. And, you know, the reality is that Scarborough is and will change, especially as we build out transit. But we have to make sure that the industrial commercial lands that we have are not eaten up and just building houses, which is why when one of the candidates on this platform suggested that we just pave over the Ontario Science Centre and build houses, I said it's a bad idea because we need institutions and we need investments in Scarborough. We need investments, and that's what I will bring with my affordable housing plan. My 108 projects will have retail and below market for small businesses who can also have things like grocery stores, ending food deserts, and we just have to be intentional about that as we're making projects that we build in the commercial and the industrial use as well as the housing.
My question to all of you tonight is, given the pace of development that we're experiencing and the impact on our communities,
fully loaded question.
What is your plan to ensure the city's budget is balanced and the residents of Scarborough have access to the wealth of services, supports, and infrastructure that Scarborough communities need to thrive?
We have a city that is fast growing, that has a real big budget issue. We cannot keep going the way that we're going. And the question is, we are not, the answer is not taxing our way out of this.
Then?
Because you can't tax your way out of this. And you cannot find cuts just out of this. So the question that we need answers, and I'll give it to you, is who from these candidates is going to be the best person with the most experience to negotiate, to be across Doug Ford and the Prime Minister to negotiate for a new deal for the City of Toronto. That is Anna Bailão.
Josh Metlow.
As I said earlier, the way to deal with bullies is not to simply capitulate or do whatever they want you to do. And I believe that I'm going to be strongly situated to be able to argue for a better deal for Toronto, because both Doug Ford and I are going to have to arrive at a place where we can work together on our priorities if he's willing to behave that way. But he knows that he's going to have to work with us rather than demand us to just do whatever he wants or roll over us. And that's going to be my approach. I think you need to go in as a strong mayor because you're coming from a place of strength rather than the legislation that he gave you. And ultimately, when it comes to Scarborough, there is such a small percentage of the arts funding, for example, that comes to Scarborough versus the downtown. When it comes to the state of the roads, the state of the services, childcare, Scarborough needs better. And I'm going to deliver that. When it comes to investments in transit, I have a plan that's actually realistic versus some of the rhetoric that you've heard beside me. I'm going to get that done because I care about delivering it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Josh. You're too loose. Like, your tie is loose. You just have very relaxed. You have a very relaxed persona. Like, hey, guys, let's just be honest. Like, let me just be honest with you here. It's too relaxed. As a image, people are not going to be inclined to vote for a person like that. People are going to be inclined to vote for a person that's suited up. You know what I mean? The person that has their personality, everything like tight, very direct, straightforward. You're too calm. You're too relaxed. You give like high school principal vibes. You don't give that mayor vibes. Like, if you look at Anna, like, very direct, straightforward answers, a little bit witty. Mitzi Hunter is the same thing, very suited up. Brad, very suited up. Don't be too relaxed. Nobody wants to see that. These are pressing issues. These are pressing matters. And to see you just relaxed and just taking everything so lightly is not a good look.
Olivia.
There is going to be a lot of projects happening in Scarborough. And the best contract that we could sign has something called community benefits. What is that? That means that in order for you to build an LRT, for example, you will have to hire some of the young people in the neighborhood and teach them so they can be apprentices. So that we would create jobs, local jobs, and help the community. We did that in Regent Park. 500 young people got new jobs, and the budget is balanced because that comes from the private sector that is helping to build infrastructure. We could put that in place in all the contracts that the City of Toronto is giving out to the different building infrastructure that is coming on. And it's a win-win situation, create jobs, help the young people,
idea.
And make the community feel proud.
It's a good idea.
Mitzi.
So I'm from Scarborough. I know what it's like to be on that outside, and you want inside of City Hall. And that's why I'm running to be your mayor, because we need a stronger voice. All of the programs that I've put forward have a perspective of a city that works for everyone, everywhere. The 108 projects in my affordable housing plan will bring amenities like Toronto Public Health offices to have prenatal clinics, breastfeeding clinics, Toronto Public Library, satellite branches, which are needed in our communities here. Making sure that our city has all of the amenities and the services in each community, not just clustered in the downtown. That includes investments in the arts. It includes investments in transit. It includes investments in public services like fixing the potholes that are plaguing our cities and our community. Scarborough will have its fair share. if I am your mayor?
Government's role and responsibility is to make sure that they create the environments to keep the citizens safe, and also the responsibility of making sure that there's affordability, of building. Government has failed in past years and beyond because they're not listening. Time after time, things are coming in your communities and you're holding your shoulders up going, why is that here? Because it's government-led. I'm reversing it. I want to hear the voices first from everybody, and then good leadership is making sound decisions and prioritizing what needs to be done. That is not being done right now. That is something that is key and critical if we're going to move forward. Government is not relevant because the decisions that they're making, people are just not listening anymore because it's so out of tune with what the real needs are.
Though you're not
By
listening
having
to
the
the question.
relationship and having those conversations across the city, and I've worked across the city, we can then build a stronger Toronto because all voices are going to be at the table when it comes to making the proper decisions to make.
The question was, what is your plan to balance the budget? What is your plan to balance the budget? That was the question. You did not answer that question, brother. You did not answer that question.
It is now time for our closing remarks. Each candidate gets 1 minute. We have randomly chosen the order, and Anna Bailau, you are up first.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much to the organizing committee. Thank you, Cynthia, for your moderator. I love this city because it's given so much to me and my family. I came when I was 15, and I keep saying this, but that sense of opportunity, that feeling that I felt at that time, I've never felt again. And I want to make sure that people feel that. And for that, we need to make sure that we fix these services like the TTC, that we fix services like our recreational centers, like our parks, making sure that our kids have access to good playgrounds and good parks. We need to make sure that we build more housing so that our workers and our youth can continue to live here, that they don't get pushed out. So on June 26, we have a real choice. We can have somebody that is going to say that 2% tax increase, or not say how much tax increase, but is going to solve all the problems and that we're going to tax our way out of this, which is not true, or somebody that is just going to be there for the premier, or somebody that will actually get the job done.
I have to cut you off. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You know, Anna, I like the aim, trajectory she's going at. She's selling hope. Now, in usual circumstances, this wouldn't really stick, in my personal opinion. But the fact that we're coming out of this, or we did come out of this pandemic, and it's kind of like a fresh start. We're now we're turning that corner of like a new chapter. So she's selling like hope, which is what a lot of people need right now, because a lot of people are living through darkness, isolated. A lot of mental health has been on the rise. So when she's saying I'm here to sell affordable housing, and I'm here to help with transit, and I'm here to help with affordability, is selling hope. It's good. It works. It works.
Mark Saunders.
Great.
All right,
First
what
off,
are you
thank
selling?
you all for attending. You being here is a statement that you too care about this city, and I want to thank everyone here that's running for mayor. You have to put it all out in the line, and you have the vulnerabilities. This is about the Canadian dream. I came here as an immigrant. I never thought in a million years I would have had the opportunity of being a leader of the largest municipal police agency in the country. My parents would never have thought that I would have an opportunity to run for mayor, the largest city in the country, the most diverse city in the world. My skills and knowledge are why I am here. I've learned by falling 7 times and getting up 8 times. I know what it means to go through the journey because I took the journey. Scarborough should not be on bended knee asking, you are paying your taxes, you deserve equal due at that table. City government has not paid attention to Scarborough. I will pay attention to everybody, not just the loudest voice, but to everybody. That's how we build a fantastic city that is inclusive and has the opportunity of living that dream that I had the opportunity to, because so many more are in the very same position and hope for the same opportunities as others.
Thank you.
Mark Saunders is selling for kind of like equality, getting your voice heard. He's more like, yo, you guys pay your dues. You guys should be equally receiving that respect from City Hall. So he's selling more of like, I'll echo your voices.
Low, you're next.
I'm trying to wrap it up. I'm trying to
Scarborough
wrap up
has not
everyone's,
had the
you know,
attention, the
selling
investment,
point.
and the focus that residents here
Principal
in
Josh.
Scarborough deserve. And I'm being upfront about how to actually fix the problems, whether it be the potholes on the streets like Warden, to investing in transit to connect the Eglinton East LRT to a Shepherd extension, to trails like the West Scarborough rail path, improving our lives. And I just want to say, just even beyond the platform, like, we often talk about Scarborough in ways that doesn't reflect the Scarborough that I know. This is the greenest part of our city. It is a beautiful part of our city.
Okay.
This is the land of Mike Myers and The Weeknd and Lily Singh. And I mean, this is a remarkable place, and we need to see it as that, and we need to value it that. You know what? The New York Times just, did you read it? They recently boasted about the remarkable restaurants and food here. Brad, even more than Jamaican patties. I love Jamaican patties. But it's so much more. Like, Scarborough is something that we can be proud of, but we need to do so much better.
I'm sorry, that's time.
Josh is selling transparency. He's trying to be transparent. He's trying to be an open book.
Mitzi Hunter.
So,
Mitzi.
you know, when I was first elected in 2013, I visited a school just right at Morningside in Lawrence, and I noticed that the kindergarten kids were playing in a fenced-in area on concrete. And, you know, I helped the school to build them a playground, and every time I pass it, it's the shape of a little castle, and I see the kids playing. I'm also someone who has been the Minister of Education, leading very large and complex ministries, Associate Minister of Finance. And that's how I lead, whether it's noticing small things that need to be solved or complex systems that need to be changed. You know, I want to build 23,000 affordable housing units for people and families in this city. I want to create new neighborhoods so people can grow up and live in this city that we all love. So I want to have this opportunity to work together with all of you to fix the six. And Mr. Sean Allen, the next mayor might not only be chosen by Scarborough, she may be from Scarborough.
All right, Drake. Listen, Steiner, put on OVO. Anyway, yo, she's selling affordable housing. Simple.
Bradford.
Well, thanks very much, Cynthia, and thank you to all of the organizations for hosting us here in Scarborough tonight. As an East Ender myself, I love being out here. I might grab a Patty King on the way home and just scratch the itch there. Listen, I'm an urban planner by training. You know, I worked in the chief planner's office at the City of Toronto. We're talking about affordability. We're talking about housing. Those are the challenges facing so many families here in the city. I know how to fix that. For too long, the walls of City Hall have been better at stalling rather than supporting fresh thinking, the thinking and the innovation that is going to drive our city forward. And yesterday's leaders who built the status quo are not going to have the answers to tomorrow's challenges. That's why I want to be your mayor. Generational change, a fresh perspective, somebody who is not afraid to make a decision and move us forward on the issues that matter more. After decades of delay, it's time for less talk and more action. If you want affordability and safer communities, vote Brad Bradford June 26th.
Brad here, he's selling fast results. It's all about like let's get this going. Like we've wasted too much time as it is. It's time for innovation. It's time for new ideas. It's time for progress. Like it's go time. That's what he's selling. It's go time. No time for long talk anymore, which is actually it's pretty good, because a lot of people might feel like the government is very slow when it comes to introducing new things, new legislation or whatever, funding and all this stuff. And if he's promising that he will make fast results, right? People might actually appreciate that. They might need that because they've seen a history of constant like a snail, like, you know what I mean, very slow processes, and by the end of it, some of the projects that they were announcing during their debate, during the mayoral debate, is still in process because of all the red tape that they have to come across. And it's time for re-election, and the person is saying, yeah, I'm still working on it. You know what I mean? So seems like he's selling fast results. And it's go time. That's what he's selling. It's go time.
I want you to know I get it. Like many of you, I immigrated to Canada when I was 13 with my mom and dad. My dad had mental health issues, can't work, but my mom, with one job and a hotel maid, were able to feed the kids and still pay the rent in St. Jamestown. And for too long, Scarborough residents have been ignored. City Hall have told you to wait. You feel stuck. I get it, because tenants are stuck waiting for affordable housing. Transit users are stuck waiting for reliable, fast, and safe transit. Families are stuck on some waiting list for childcare or Parks and Rec program. With me as your mayor, you will not wait any longer. The time for change is now. Together, let's build a city that is caring, affordable, and safe, where everyone feels they belong.
Olivia is selling a dream. She's all over the place. Selling a dream, bro. Olivia, you need to work on something, bro.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the candidates. That concludes our evening. I hope that you have walked away here with a better understanding of who you would like to vote for. City News will have...
Yeah, all right, we'll wrap it up here. So, let me know what you guys think. This is a long video. I'm gonna try to reduce it as much as possible without cutting out too much context. From what I've seen today, the strongest candidate seems to be Anna. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if I did a good analysis on this debate. Let me know. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're almost at that 500. So make sure you subscribe, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and take care. And make sure you vote.